Hello, sports fans. It's me, Sportsman Z, Bob Zolke. And if you'll recall, previously I had done a video on what happened to the Washington Redskins. Well, just to show that I am an equal opportunity guy, I have a video now about what happened to the Chicago Bears. And as you all, if you follow the channel, you know I'm a Bears fan. So yeah, let's get into it. The Chicago Bears are a charter member of the NFL. They came in when the league started. I think they also came in with the Green Bay Packers and possibly also the Chicago Cardinals, who are now the Arizona Cardinals. And I'm not sure who else was a charter member. It might have been other teams that don't exist anymore. So anyway, that was 1920. And as we can see up here, the lifetime record of the Chicago Bears from 1920 to the present, and that includes their 1-1 record this year, is 762 wins, 584 losses, and 42 ties. Very impressive. However, and also as you can see up here, they were 17-19 in the playoffs, and they are 1-1 in Super Bowls. They won the Super Bowl in 1985, and they lost it in 2005 to Indianapolis. They have 9 total championships. Of course, that counts if you go all the way back to when the NFL was, in its heyday, but before the Super Bowl. So anyway, the reason that I'm saying there's something wrong with the Bears is because you can see up here, from 2000 to 2019 to the present, their record is 150 wins and 156 losses. And they've only been to the playoffs 5 times in that span. Now, yes, I realize that last year they were in the playoffs, and they were, I believe last year, 12-4, which is very impressive. But they got eliminated to the Eagles in the first round because their last-minute field goal attempt was partially blocked and did a doinker. So that is that. We all remember that. And so everybody is like, oh, okay, yeah, the Bears are fine now. But maybe not, because they did lose their opening game to Green Bay, and they weren't really all that impressive beating Denver last week, and they kicked a field goal only because they were in, zero gravity up there. So that could be a harbinger of things to come that are not so great for 2019 season. Now, their last playoff, and here's the thing, their last playoff appearance prior to 2018 was 2010. So that's not so great. And of course, if you're like me, you remember the season that they started out 7-1. They were 7-1 in the first half, and they ended up, I think, 9-7 or 10-6. I'm not sure which, but they missed the playoffs, and they missed it by that much, as Get Smart would say. So they got some issues. I mean, they've had some issues. I mean, it's not like they've been a winning team over the last 19, 20 years. And right here, this is an issue right here. Okay, their all-time passing leader is Jay Cutler. So, no team wants that on their resume, that their all-time passing leader is Jay Cutler, or anyone like Jay Cutler. So he has 23,443 yards, 154 touchdowns, and a 61.8 completion percentage, which is probably not as impressive as it could be because he plays in today's NFL. I mean, that would have been great back in the 80s. But for right now, no, probably not. So they've had 5 coaches over 19 years. Now, at first you're saying, well, Bob, that's not bad. 5 coaches, averaging 3.8 years per coach. And actually, I would say that is bad. That you only have coaches for an average of 4 years. But that's even deceptive because Lovie Smith was the coach of the Bears for 9 of those years. So 9 of the past 19, Lovie Smith has been the coach. And other than him, it's been a revolving door. And so, now we're going to see if Nagy works out. I like Nagy. I like some of his ideas. I'm not so sure about going for 2 points on after a touchdown when it's like in the first quarter, and there's no need to do that. So he's an unconventional guy, but maybe you need somebody that thinks unconventionally. So, what is Chicago's issue? Why can't they win? All right, one reason is right here. They've never had good quarterbacking. I think, whoever the quarterback was back in the day, way back in the day, maybe he was good. I forget who knows with all those old guys back then. So maybe they once had a good quarterback back in the 1920s. But, if you're putting out a string of like Eric Kramer's and who else? Bob Avellini's. It hasn't been pretty. And even really Jim McMahon, people always point to Jim McMahon. Well, what about Jim McMahon? Jim McMahon was not a good quarterback. He was an acceptable quarterback. And he was surrounded by great players. Even if Jay Cutler had been surrounded by the 85 Bears, he would have been good. If I had been surrounded by the 85 Bears, I would have been good. So that's, you can't look at that. He really, McMahon was not good. Any of those other guys, Steve Walsh, his McMahon's backup, he might have been better than McMahon, really. But he was the backup. But he wasn't that great. So we've never had a good quarterback. But that is a symptom of a bigger problem. And that bigger problem is that the Bears don't spend money. Now, they did do it last year for the first time. They spent a lot of money on somebody good, and they did it smartly when they signed Khalil Mack. And I want to see more like that. I want to see more of that type of thing. And they made Khalil Mack the highest paid defensive player in football because they were able to do that because their quarterback is Trubisky and he was still on an entry-level contract. And they didn't have to pay Trubisky, millions and millions and millions of dollars yet. So, and if he keeps playing like he's playing now, he's never going to see that either, I might tell you. So, that's really where the issue with the Bears has been. Now, if you watch the Redskin video, and I do highly suggest that you go back and watch the Redskin video, you can see that their problems are they're even worse. They're like an organization thing. It's just their ownership, their front office. It's all, it's poorly run. It's just a poorly run organization. The Bears aren't necessarily that way. However, you've got to spend money for players. If you don't spend money for players, you're going to get nipped in the butt. And I think they have been for the most part. Now, maybe they've turned a corner. Let's hope, let's hope they've turned a corner. And that they will soon be, good. But, good consistently. Because really, if you looked at this time period here, they have had good years. They have had 13-3 seasons, 12-4 seasons, 10-6 seasons. It's been a better run than I think when I did the Redskins, I did from 1999 on because Daniel Snyder had taken over the team in 1999. So it was roughly the same time period. And they're better than the Redskins have been. Again, because they're not really necessarily poorly run, they just don't spend money. And you do have to occasionally spend money to be good. So that is my diatribe on the Chicago Bears and the state of the Chicago Bears. Let's hope that they have turned the corner and will now be a consistently good organization for a while, but cautiously optimistic about that. So anyway, here is my contact information. Again, if you want to leave me a tweet to me, or leave me something on Instagram, or send me an email, or just leave a comment below, and I will get the comments, and I always try to respond. I definitely read all the comments, and I always try to respond back, and to let you know that your input is important. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. If you can send a link to the channel to your friends, or suggest it to your friends, that would be great. I have other things coming up pretty soon, and you'll want to keep you want to be notified when a new video comes up, and so that you can watch and see if it's something you'd be interested in. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Didn't like it, give me a thumbs down. Leave a comment. But for right now, it's Sportsman Z Bob Zolke signing off.